Hi, this is the Black Woman Reader, and I will be reading verses from the 46th chapter of Alma. And it came to pass that as many as would hearken to the words of Helaman and his brethren were gathered together against their brethren, and they were determined to slay them. Now the leader of those who were against their brethren were a big, large, strong man by the name of Amalekiah. And Amalekiah was desirous to be king, and those people who were desirous that he should be their king were the lower judges of the land, and they were seeking for power. And they had been led by the flattery of Amalekiah that they would support him and establish him to be their king, that he would make them ruler over the people. Thus they were led away by Amalekiah to dissensions, notwithstanding the preaching of Helaman and his brethren, nor their exceedingly great care over the church, for they were high priests of the church. And there were many in the church who believed in the flattering words of Amalekiah. Therefore they dissented even from the church. And thus were the affairs of the people of Nephi exceedingly precarious and dangerous, notwithstanding their great victory which they had over the Lamanites, and their great rejoicing which they had because of their deliverance by the hand of the Lord. And now it came to pass that when Moroni, who was the chief commander over the armies of Nephi, had heard these dispensations, he were angry with Amalekiah. And it came to pass that he rent his coat and took a piece thereof and wrote upon it, in the memory of our God, our religion, and freedom, and of our peace, and our wives, and our children. And he fastened it upon the end of a pole. It is interesting to note here that he wrote upon this cloth. So he essentially he made a banner, but he wrote upon this cloth. So I think that's something to stick a pin in. And he fastened on his headplate, and he fastened on his headplate and his breastplate and his shield, and girded his armor about his loins. And he took the pole which had on the end thereof his rent coat, and called it the Time of Liberty. And he bowed himself to the earth, and he prayed mightily unto his God for a blessing of liberty to rest upon his brethren, so long as they should be a band of Christians remain to possess the land. And it came to pass that when he had poured out his soul to God, he named the land which was south of the land desolation, and all the land both on the north and south, and on the south a chosen land, and the land of liberty. And he said, surely God shall not suffer that we who are despised, because we take upon ourselves the name of Christ, should be trodden down and destroyed until we bring it upon ourselves by our own transgression. And when Moroni had said these words, he went forth among the people, waving the rent part of his garment in the air, that all might see the writing which he had written upon the rent part, and crying out with a loud voice, behold, whosoever will maintain this title upon the land, let them come forth in strength of the Lord and enter into a covenant, that they will maintain their rights and their religions, that the Lord God may bless them. And it came to pass that when Moroni had proclaimed these words, behold, the people came running together with their armor girded about their loins, rending their garments, in token or as a covenant that they would not forsake the Lord their God, or fall into transgression, and be made ashamed to take upon them the name of Christ. Okay. And now this was the covenant which they made, and they cast their garments at the feet of Moroni. We covenant with our God, and we shall be destroyed, even as our brothers in the land northward, if we shall fall into transgression. Yea, he may cast us at the feet of our enemies, even as we cast our garments at thy feet to be trodden up on the foot, if we shall fall in transgression. Moroni said unto them, Behold, we are remnants of the seed of Jacob. Yea, we are remnants of the seed of Joseph, whose coat was rent by his brethren in those pieces. And now, behold, let us remember to keep the covenant of God, or our garments shall be rent by our brethren, and we shall be cast into prison, or be sold, or be slain. Yea, let us preserve our liberty as a remnant of Joseph. Let us remember the words of Jacob before his death. For behold, he saw that part of the remnant of the coat of Joseph was preserved and had not decayed. And he said, even as this remnant of garment of my son has been preserved, so shall a remnant of the seed of my son be preserved by the hand of God, and be taken unto himself, while the remainder of the seed of Joseph shall perish, even as the remnant of this garment. And now, behold, this giveth my soul sorrow. Nevertheless, my soul hath joy in my son, because of the part of his seeds which shall be taken unto God. And now, who knoweth what the remnants of the seed of Jacob, which shall perish as his garment, are those who have descended from us? Yea, even it shall be ourselves, if we do not stand fast in the faith of Christ. And now it came to pass that when Moroni had said these words, he went forth and also sent forth in all parts of the land where there was dissension, and gathered together all the people who were desirous to maintain their liberty and stand against Amalickiah. And those who dissented were called Amalekites. And it came to pass that when Amalickiah saw that the people of Moroni were more numerous than the Amalekites, and also that his people were doubtful concerning the justice of the cause in which they had undertaken, he took those of his people who would and departed into the land of Nephi. Now Moroni thought it not expedient that the Lamanites should have more strength. Therefore he thought to cut off the people of Amalickiah, take them and bring them back, and put Micaiah to death, for he knew that he would stir up the Lamanites to anger against them, and cause them to come to battle against them. And this he knew that Amalickiah would do, that he might obtain his purpose. Therefore Moroni thought it more expedient that he should take his armies who had gathered themselves together and armed themselves, and enter into a covenant to keep the peace. And it came to pass that he took his army and marched out with his tent into the wilderness to cut off the course of Amalickiah in the wilderness. And it came to pass that Amalickiah fled with a small band, the remainder of his band, and the remainder of his men were delivered into the hands of Moroni, who took them back to Zarahemla. Now Moroni, being a man who was appointed the chief judge, could do according to what he wanted. And it came to pass that whosoever the Amalekites that would not enter into a covenant to support the cause of freedom, that they might maintain a free government, he caused them to be put to death. And it came to pass that he caused the tide of liberty to be hoisted upon every tower in all the land which was possessed by the Nephites. And they began again to have peace in the land. Thus they maintained peace in the land until nearly the end of the 19th year of the reign of Judges. And Helaman and the high priest did also maintain order in the church. Yea, even for a space of 4 years did they have much peace and rejoicing in the church. And it came to pass, okay. So they had peace in the land. And on that note, until next time, this is the Black Mormon Reading.